I really hate using natural lighting because every time I always get one side of my face that's lighter than the other. One day I'll be able to afford some good lighting. Hey guys, hope it's all going well for you. It's certainly going pretty well for me at the moment. Life's pretty good, which is surprising considering how much stuff's been going on. Today's video is actually, well, taken from a couple of events that happened to me, so I thought it would be good to share and hopefully teach some of you the importance in the process. Of course, today we're going to be talking about pronouns. Now, there are plenty of pronouns out there, but the two main ones that everyone knows are he and she. But there are also other ones, like gender neutral ones, such as they, and other more, well, obscure ones that not many people would know about, such as Z. Now, a lot of people, specifically those of the cis community, don't really understand the importance of pronouns. Mainly because they have been happy with the ones they were given at birth and therefore don't see any significance in it. But obviously when it comes to the trans community, pronouns are one of the most important things. This is because to us, the pronouns we were given at birth do not match us, do not make us feel happy. So we choose pronouns which fit with us and make us feel that we are actual people. We don't feel that we're outsiders anymore. We feel that we connect with a certain pronoun, and that pronoun makes us feel much better about ourselves and makes us feel like we are actually human beings. So obviously in the trans community, with pronouns being so important, when someone uses the wrong pronouns, it can make things, well, either awkward or painful depending on how it has been done. Obviously some people do it is purely a mistake, or perhaps maybe they have assumed you are of a certain gender and will use those pronouns. I can give you an example of this. When I was at work a few months ago, I was talking to one of the customers. She had a young child and I was talking to the child in a bit of a higher voice because that's what you do, and at the end the lady basically said, "Okay, time to go, say goodbye to the nice lady." I sat there smiling at her and very politely said, "I'm not a lady." It took her a few seconds to kind of whir and click everything into place, but then suddenly her face just dropped and she was so embarrassed. She was like, I'm sorry, it's okay sweetie, say goodbye to the nice man." And that was it. She wasn't saying it in a mean way, and she was so embarrassed, and the reason she was embarrassed was because she knew that, obviously me correcting her, that I am my authority when it comes to my gender, and therefore she was in the wrong and she had basically used the wrong pronouns. She was lovely, so it wasn't going to take offence to her. She was genuinely making a mistake. But what I can say is that obviously the mistake that she made, that a lot of people do, is they assume what pronouns someone has. And that's something I think everyone does. I've done it myself sometimes. What I would recommend when it comes to pronouns, if you see someone and you're not sure, the one thing I do is I tend to use gender neutral pronouns like they until I meet that person, because that way I'm not pushing them either way on the spectrum. I'm not trying to force them into the two main binaries as either male or female, whereas the they can cover a vast lot of spectrums. Now when it gets to actually meeting the person, the best way to know obviously someone's pronouns is to ask. A lot of people I've met have said that they're worried of asking someone about their pronouns in case they get offended, because they might say something like, "Oh, isn't it obvious?" Obviously to that person it isn't. I personally wouldn't take offence to that. If someone came up to me and said, "What pronouns do you use?" to me that shows respect, that shows that they're unsure. That doesn't mean that they think I'm a girl, that just means they might look at me and think, I don't know. They might think maybe that I'm gender neutral or something, but they're not sure and they don't want to assume, they don't want to risk offending me, so they want to come up and talk to me and see what pronouns I use straight from me. So that for me is very big for me. I think that's a very important thing. I've met a lot of gender neutral people along that sort of spectrum, and when it comes to pronouns with them, a lot of the time when you ask them, they're genuinely thankful that you're asking, mainly because so many people still don't understand that there is more out there than male and female. They don't understand, there are so many people out there who don't understand that there is more than just he and she. And the fact that you're going to them and saying, what pronouns do you use? Because you're unsure, that shows, like I said, it shows that you're respecting them, and it shows that you have an understanding that there is possibly more than just two genders in the spectrum. And I can personally say I've asked someone before, and it's very much a thank God you asked. Yes, thank you. Yeah, I use gender neutral pronouns. Thank you for asking. And it makes you feel good as a person because it shows that you're being respectful to that person, and you've probably made that person's day. The fact that you are going out of your way to make sure that you get that person's pronouns just right and make sure that they don't get misgendered by you. So obviously once you've got someone's pronouns down, you know exactly what pronouns to use. But when it comes to others, obviously it's a bit of a difficult situation. Say if you are out with a group of friends who have all by this point known about this person and the fact that they've changed their pronouns, and they are talking about them, and then they proceed to use the wrong pronouns. You may feel a little uncomfortable doing this, but if you're in that situation and that person is misgendered, go out of your way and say, actually no, they use these pronouns. Even the person who you're correcting on behalf of, even if the person isn't there, it shows that you're trying to maintain that. Because especially to be in the beginning of someone's transition, lots of people are going to mess up. And if you've got that one person who's saying, actually, no, it's these pronouns, then it's not just that one person. They've actually got friends who are willing to correct on their behalf. Therefore, it reinforces those pronouns on people who are unsure, and therefore makes them realise how important these pronouns are. Obviously, as I said, when it comes to assuming, it can often be very uncomfortable, but genuinely people will say, oh, you know, they'll apologise and they'll feel very embarrassed because the fact that they have called you the wrong pronouns, essentially called you the wrong gender. A lot of people can find that very mortifying because they know that they don't want to offend you. However, there is another side to this where people will continue to deliberately misgender you, and that is another spectrum entirely. I'm not going to mention any names here. Again, I don't want to mention any names, but I had an event happen to me where a person basically referred to me as female pronouns, and when I was away was confronted and basically said that because they saw me as female, they would continue to refer to me as female pronouns until they saw me as male. So basically my rights, my identity was not important to them, it was all them. When I hear someone say something like that, what I hear is them saying that they think they are the authority when it comes to your gender, which obviously is you're not. A lot of the time with these sorts of people, you can't really do anything. A lot of them are very stubborn and they just tend to ignore you if you try and correct them. And to a lot of people that can be very degrading, especially if that person is part of your everyday life. What I would recommend when it comes to this person, definitely I wouldn't say just go and push, because sometimes these people are the stubbornest of people and they will just dig their heels in. It's best to give them some space and get back to them slowly but surely and try and get them to understand it's how wrong it is, and it's not appropriate to misgender someone deliberately. Just because that they think you look at one gender doesn't mean that you are, and you need to make them understand that. It's a bit of a complex thing, but if you can get that person to understand that what they're doing is essentially very damaging to you and can actually be upsetting, depending on the importance of that person in your life, then hopefully it'll help change their minds. I just wanted to make this because of the fact of what's happened to me lately, and I felt that it's important to share that with you and really kind of try my best to help some of you out there who may be dealing with people who are messing up or even deliberately misgendering you, which obviously is much worse. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys!